Good day, loves. Welcome. Welcome to, welcome back to the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. This is such a good episode. We are diving into already episode 138. Today's topic is on the Freedom 5 element of B. Freedom 5 is our holistic healing system, 5 prong, and it's B, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine. And every day of the work week, we focus in on these 5 key things that help bring consistency in your life so that you can experience and attain your definition of holistic freedom. One step at a time in holistic health, truth seeking, and in your home, right? Yeah, so it's great to be here. I'm Coach Tensi, if you don't know who I am, and this is...
I'm Coach Soul.
Yeah, we are Ufulu Child. Ufulu means freedom. And today's topic is where true love comes from. We're getting into the divine connection and diving into the source, right? So the source of all things, to talk about the kind of love that truly connects us deeply to life, and not just the romantic love, but also from a deeper, more spiritual perspective as well, right?
Right. The truth is that all forms of love come from God, come from the source of our being, our beingness. Okay, that's why we're talking about it today in this way, at least on B Day, as opposed to, not opposed, but, besides on like Shine Day, because the source of love is the divine. And of course, it manifests in our stories in a whole lot of different ways. You have love for certain experiences. You have love for different parts of your own body or your own mind. You have love for people that are that is platonic. You have love for people that is familial. You have love for people that's romantic. So there's many ways that love manifests, and it does vibrate a little differently in those forms, but the source of love itself comes from God, and that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So let's unpack this, right? Because when we talk about love, when we talk about God, when we talk about the divine, I mean, at least for me, God was a word that I struggled with saying, or even, connecting with for a very long time, because it's tied up in a lot of dogma and a lot of condemnation, and it's easy to lose the essence of it in society when sometimes it's just used flippantly to symbolize just some other body having being that's somewhere in no space, no time, but also there, that sees everything that you're doing, and all of that. But it's something that it takes having a real deep connection with yourself. And I went on this journey of looking into, who am I, that core question. And the deeper that I dug, the more that I found that we are all, and I am is another word for this great energy, this great essence of life itself, like the screen that the movie plays on, even beyond the screen itself, like the essence of life. Now, this divine power comes from a greater creator, and that none of us separate from that. Nothing is separate from that and cannot be, because it is here first before it could come or go. It's already here. So we're talking about that foundation. So what is love? What is love? What do you think?
Well,
What is
first,
Mhm.
for me, the word, no. Okay, I'm gonna say for me, but I feel like it's deeper than that. But I don't know, for
Conversation
some
purposes.
reasons, yeah, it feels more appropriate to start the sentence off with for me. So, for me, the word God is a title, not a name. And for many people, the word God has been associated with how we're supposed to use a name. But for people in the spiritual community who would rather use the word um, source or creator or divine or the divine, all of these are titles and all of these are appropriate, as is the word God, serving the same purpose as these other title words, because the meaning behind the word God is the source of creation, the force that is beyond time, that does experience all things in time, because time is its own creation, that gave birth to being,
Mm.
whether that being is the beingness of inanimate objects, or that being is the being of huge objects like black holes and
Planets.
galaxy.
Mm.
Okay, planets. Yep, they're big too to us.
Mm.
Um, or like the size of space itself, what we call space, or that beingness is in the individual, human beings and animals and plants and whatnot that have a little more feeling going on. We think uh, that force is labeled with the title source, God, creator, the divine. And that's what it is. And so our connection to God and God's, let's say, love for us is the source pool for our experiences of love for ourselves and others. And it is, of course, associated with emotions, but the emotional resonance of love is never always there. Yet, unconditional love or very close to unconditional love will exist, where love is still where your actions are coming from, even when the emotional resonance of love is absent from the body.
How can we say that in a way that someone that doesn't know exactly what you mean when you say resonance in the body, how can we say that in another way? I'm thinking like the feeling tone, but more so sensation, but really even beyond the sensation itself, because you might not be able to pick it up in terms of feeling, like a feeling in your body, but it's coming back to a universal law, a universal principle of vibration, where every thought, every emotion, every thing, and everything has its own frequency. It's vibrating, it's moving. And so is that what you mean when you say like that resonance?
Yeah, what you can feel moving in the body, as you said, moving. Um, Emotion is, sort of often thought about as energy in motion, and it pardon me, very much is by way of vibrational frequency. Pardon me. And the frequencies of love are not always felt, when we are doing acts of love, because acts of love often involve, compromise, sacrifice, things of this nature.
Let's define this real clearly. What is love?
Go ahead.
Wait, were you about to? And I just
Yep.
didn't. Okay, go ahead.
Um, simply put, love is our experience of our connection to the source of our being. We may not know that, but that's what it is. And when we do feel love, we are feeling what we call deep connection. What do we mean by deep? We mean not deep in the skin, we mean something else. And so when we experience deep connection, what we are experiencing is connection that's deeper within our being towards the source of that being. And the more love that we feel at any given time, the deeper love that we feel at any given time, the closer our connection to the divine essence of who we really are shines through. And so the distinction is we have to explore the idea that true love emanates from God, from the higher divine source that gives life to all things. And love as a connection to source, so that when we feel it or when we act from love, even if we don't feel it, we can align our thoughts and being with truth.
And I think I want to acknowledge that, because we said align. And I think when I think alignment, it's also corresponding to what you were saying about frequency, because if you're a musician or an artist, or you've ever like heard a song or like tried to play it on a piano or a guitar or something like that, you know that as you pluck a string of the guitar, as you tap the key and tap a different key, they have different sound vibrations that are coming off of them. You can feel the vibration in the room. Like if you put your hand on a speaker, you can feel the vibration on your hands. And so there's a frequency of alignment with source. And the higher the frequency, if you think of a line, the frequency is like, how often is it hitting or crossing this line or touching this line? How often is it touching this line? And the higher the frequency, the more often it's touching the line. And so getting in alignment is touching the line of God. Is how often are you touching the line of God? And the higher the frequency, the more like the greater the number. If you're, thinking in terms of math, a lower frequency could be like 12 hertz. A higher frequency could be 444 hertz, or even higher than that, way higher than that. So how can we align ourselves with that connection of love, that connection to the divine within? That's what comes to my mind, and is the constant question of, okay, and there's this idea that I think everyone else has of God, but let me just check in with what is the highest, the truest and the best expression of me, and how can I align myself with that? What could that look like? How am I moving in my life? How am I standing? How am I speaking to others? How am I speaking to myself? How am I planning? Like all these little things are what I think of in the expression of love. It's really, how can I be more of the truest expression of me? And in doing that, I'm also being my version of God, in a way, or letting that flow through me.
I don't know if there are versions of God, but
Maybe that was the
what
best
you
way
were
to put
headed
it,
to,
but
I think is I don't say that as a critique. I just want to acknowledge that I think what you pardon me, but what you meant to say is definitely correct.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, let's clear that up.
right. Let's clear that up. So, as because there is but one source of being, okay, because being does not have multiple sources.
Mm.
Um, that means we are inherently connected to the source of love, or to the creator, or to love itself, right? Because again, the more we feel love, the more we feel a connection to our own source. We may not know that mentally, but that is what it is. And anybody who studies within themselves and the effects, that appear within others, comes to that conclusion because it's true. So, because we are essentially children of God, we inherently are connected to love, and it's in our very nature to love. Now, something that a lot of people may miss
Mm.
in this regard is how this divine love is within all of us, but gets clouded
Mm.
with our conflicts, distractions,
Fears.
exactly. The fears, conflicts, distractions, the hatred, the anger, these experiences do not actually taint our own pool of love, or the source of where our expressions of love come from.
Mm.
That is not stained by our experiences of negativity or our outbursts of negativity or what have you. It's more so like the metaphor of this, there's the sun out there and it's shining bright on the day. Clouds can come and obstruct our view of the sun, or we can put our hand up and we can obstruct our view of the sun.
Mm.
We haven't stained the sun black. We haven't stained the sun itself cloudy,
Mm.
right? And when the clouds disperse, when we move our hand, when we take off the blindfold, whatever it is, then the sun keeps shining through and it has not changed.
Mm. So it helps me to kind of anchor it back in. It's like there's a seed of God in all of us, and we are expressing that in the acknowledgement of that in this moment, in this new moment right now. As you're listening again, it's a new moment. As we acknowledge that connection and make ourselves responsible in seeking it actively, moment by moment. That is kind of like the foundation of what the daily practice kind of could look like, or the moment to moment practice is remembering, acknowledging, knowing that connection is there, that seed is here, and watering it, nourishing it, looking at it. It's like with a garden, the good stuff, the seeds don't just necessarily grow and non-obstructed unless you pull the weeds, or you are pouring good things onto it. It's getting water, it's getting sun, it needs nourishment. And so nourishing that seed of God within to grow and to blossom and to bring forth its own fruit, that we can pass on that wisdom to others. And that's real shining, coming from an overflow of not just filling up your cup just to feel fine and you're no longer feeling depleted, but to go beyond that in your personal growth, in your healing journey, in your freedom journey, to really fill up to overflowing, that you are acknowledging the infinite source flowing through you at all times. That takes a little bit of a perspective shift.
Yeah, a shift. Because yes, we are all experiencing various stages of healing journeys
Mm,
or healing in the background of our story,
hmm.
right? Or I hope
Ongoing,
we are. um,
whether we know it or not.
because yeah, we
It'd
really
be
are. So
perceived as challenge, you know.
that healing, when we are able to increase our frequency of alignment with truth,
Mm.
then we
With
are able
truth.
to increase our frequency in alignment with love.
Yes.
And we are able to associate the challenges and lessons that we learn from our hardships with what the Christian brothers and sisters may call intelligent design, or the fact that we are made in the images of source for great purposes,
Mm.
that you're not walking around aimlessly, purposelessly,
Hmm.
but that there's meaning in every piece that makes up the watch,
Hmm.
right, of our human existence, of our human family. Everybody that gets to breathe another breath is breathing another breath for a divine purpose.
Mm.
And that association, that perspective shift, allows for the doors to open for us to see more opportunities to heal and to act on more opportunities to heal
Mm.
from our emotional wounds and our spiritual wounds.
Mm. Yes. And yeah, that's the crunchiness, aka resistance. The negative feelings will bubble up as soon as you start to kind of tap in. It'll bring to the surface all of the illusions, the illusion of fear, the illusion of this thing is limiting me, or I'm limiting myself, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's just something that comes along the way. But practical ways to connect on a daily level, right? Start with self-love, prayer, or quick meditation, reflecting in your journal, affirmations, your freedom decree, reading it because it's already packed with all these things. Yeah, I mean, aside from meditation, but start with self-love. Remember, gratitude is the gateway. So with gratitude, you amplify your altitude, and you also, it's a big amplifier. It's one of the highest frequencies other than love itself, right? It's like the gateway to love. And it allows for you to focus on what is here now, which even beyond the body, even beyond the things that you have, the essence of love, the source of your beingness. You're alive right now. You can hear this right now. That's powerful. Daily affirmations with love is another way. More specifically, um, you can read over yourself the Freedom Decree if you followed the previous episode where we covered it, and get into that, or just speak goodness over yourself, even if it's just one phrase, one word. Love. Speak love. Love flows through me. I am love.
And yeah, these practices are very, very, very much useful and not woo woo out there,
Mhm.
useless things, because they're not prescriptions for, here's how I automatically, treat myself better, or here's how I automatically treat others better. It's simply
And stop the momentum of all the negative habits I ever had
right.
instantly.
It's simply, here's how I add more love into my associations and perspective, and here's how I add more love into my actions on a daily basis.
Mhm.
And that, in adding more love into your daily habits and your perspective and associations, you will see the results
Mhm.
of that cause.
Yeah.
because love itself is both an effect of our connection to the source of being and a cause for our desire to connect with this life that we live, that we are granted from the creator.
Yeah.
So love is both the cause and the effect.
Yeah.
When it comes to get that deep connection.
And it's also, it corresponds to a hormone in the body called oxytocin, which is the love, connection, bonding hormone. This helps regulate everything in your body, bringing harmony to every other body system, the more that you're in that. So the more of that you have, disease can't be there. Because the orchestra in your body, that little conductor that is like your different hormonal glands, like the master gland in your brain and whatnot, it is fed and balanced by coming back to this divine love. So you're not just feeding yourself spiritually or overflowing onto others in your relationships, but you're also literally healing your body by bringing it back into harmony. The more that you tap into this, disease cannot exist in this sort of environment.
And that's why we are doing what we're doing, is to not only spread this knowledge of love, but also spread the opportunities for people to start practicing, tapping into gratitude, understanding the love that they experience, understanding that when they aren't experiencing it due to negativity, it's a cover up. It's not actually tainting the love itself. And why we're doing events like Thrive Zone.
Yes.
On the 20th.
January 20th, MLK Day, 12 to 3 p.m. Central in Austin, Texas at Dawa.
Yeah, tickets available and the link in the bio, the link in the description.
Yes.
There is, Thrive Zone itself is what is that word for a condensed, for lack of a better word, encompassing of holistic love, right? We're going to share in healing music together with a concert. We're going to share in meditation and spiritual grounding and stillness together. We're going to share in community discussion about solutions to various experiences in the human family that we can edit. We're going to
affirmations, art making.
Engage in community art wall, affirmations. We're going to engage in movement and
dancing
together,
that embodiment of freedom for you. Yeah.
And some discussion on our best Freedom 5 practices, 10 to 15 minutes a day on these 5 things to just add more love, add more care into your daily habits. So it's like a little bubble of holistic love coming from a spiritual alignment with holistic freedom in a single event. And today's topic is why we are doing Thrive Zone, why we do what we do every day. So
yes. So yeah, Thrive Zone is a 3-hour holistic freedom reset for working moms and their families, and for the freedom seekers out there. If you are a truth seeker, if you are seeking for freedom in your health and in your life, then come on out, bring your family. This is a family event, so you can bring your babies, bring your kids. There's going to be a kids corner with 2 on-site facilitators helping to facilitate some mentally stimulating, sensory, and highly engaging activities that are rooted in freedom, rooted in love, rooted in reflection. And there's going to be some movement and things for the babies too. So we have sliding scale for the ticket, so it's super accessible. And if you are a community organization leader or a local artist or healer here in Austin, we want to connect with you too, because we're putting together a free resource for everyone in attendance that they can have for local resources for holistic health and just overall things to help working moms in every area of life in Austin. So yeah, reach out to us if you're interested in that.
We'll see you all tomorrow.
Take care, love. Peace.